Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Pearl. I had no idea, just popped up on Redbox and on Vudu. I got the notification, today's New Movie Tuesday. If you didn't know, they release the digital movies on Tuesday, usually. Sorry, my nose just got a little itchy. I'm going to get a bite, I think. It's never money, never money. Anyway, so Pearl just came out. I had no idea about this. This is the prequel to X. You know, the slasher film about the crazy couple who were jealous over the young kids that came up to film an adult movie, you know, on their farm or whatever, and things got out of hand. And so, wow, 7.2 on IMDb, 11,906 people rated this thing already. It's already out on digital. It's an hour and 43 minutes long. Here's where I got confused. Mia Goth plays this. So if you remember, Mia Goth was in the original X, Jenna Ortega, oh man, I just had all their names. Kid Cudi was in it. That's not who. Oh, Brittany Snow was the other one that I remember, right? They were all in it. I wasn't too thrilled with the movie. I was excited for it, but, you know, not the greatest. But then I was like, wait, Mia Goth is in this one? So, little fun fact for you, I had a researcher. Mia Goth not only played whatever, Maxine or whatever, the one girl, but she also played the Pearl, who was the older lady who was in her 80s that was in this in the movie. Interesting role. Well, this was filmed right after X was filmed, and I guess it's straight to digital or whatever, but it's now just coming out as the prequel. So pretty high ratings, pretty interesting story, and Mia Goth is reprising her role as Pearl, who was the 80-year-old woman in X, and also Maxine she played as well, but I don't think she's reprising that role. Alright, a lot of information to digest, and I'm sure you're really excited for the next piece of my review, so if you just stick around, I'll be right back. Hey everybody, I want to do a quick check-in here. We're watching Pearl. We're up to 51 minutes, 6-second mark. Just about halfway through. I'd say what, it's a little slow moving up until this point. I think it's laying the backstory. It is a prequel, of course. But it is shot incredibly interesting and well. You know, it takes place in 1918. And they really tried to capture the essence of those types of films back there. Now, it is in color. Maybe it was back in 1918. I don't know. But, yeah, I keep remembering, like, The Wizard of Oz. I don't know when that was. I should have looked it up. But it's got that feel to it, and some scenery parts and stuff like that. The cornfield in the storm and stuff like that. You'll see what I mean when you watch it. But just that, and then like the soundtrack, the camera angles, the acting. Obviously, you know, it's all, you know, I know it's like, oh yeah, they're showing 1918, and that's great. But no, it's the film of 1918. You know, the cinematography, the way that, like, you just saw a scene where it's circled out. You don't see that nowadays, right? You never see that. It's circled out. You know, the opening credits are all like that. But yeah, another example, she puts her head down, and just the way that they capture her, she's like, I'm going to be a star someday, something like that, was truly like early movies, and the way that they produced them. And I think it's pretty neat. I think that's pretty cool so far. And I think she's very talented. She, you know, the way that they're making this character, I thought she does a great job of, you know, behind her. So she's I don't know how old she is, 18 to 20 something. Well, she's married, and her husband went off to war and hasn't come back. She's living with her mother and her father. Father's in a wheelchair, kind of paraplegic or something, I don't know. And so she's left at home taking care of them, but she wants to get out in the world and become a dancer, essentially. And her mother is holding her back and doesn't want her to do anything like that. You know, they don't have a lot of money, all that stuff. And it all takes place at the house from X. Not the barn house, but the house. The barn is the barn. I don't know the difference, because it seems like, whatever, it doesn't matter. So that's where we are so far. You can see she's rebelling against her parents, or her mother, really, because, you know, she wants to be her own person and not take care of her mother and father. And of course the mother's thinking she's ungrateful. That's where we are. So you can start to see the I don't know, the pot start to boil, if you will. But we'll see where it goes. She goes to the movies, and she met the projectionist. That's his name in the actual IMDb. So, but I think there's a lot more to unfold here in the second half. But I think the most important thing that I wanted to share was the way that this whole thing is shot is kind of not original, but original for today, I think. So, all right, that's enough. I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Pearl, and not sure quite what to think at this point. Still trying to mull it over in my head. I will tell you this, that after my last check-in, which I forget where it was, 50:06 or something like that, it does ramp up a little bit into the more horror film kind of things. It does eventually turn into more of the slasher, which is what we know because it's kind of what X was, right? The whole first 50 minutes was really backstory, and then it jumps into it. And it kind of gets, weird, but, what you kind of expect from what we know of Pearl, if you've seen X. And at that point, that's where maybe some gory kind of stuff happens, and things continue on down the path to make her who she becomes. Now, it keeps that old vibe to it, especially the final credits are odd. I will say that it did end differently than what I was thinking was going to happen. I understand it was her early years, and I just assumed that, I don't know, sometimes I think it's just going to lead up to the X movie somehow, and it sort of does. I mean, it leads into it. Obviously, it's a prequel, but I guess maybe I'm thinking it's the opening scene of the next movie. That's not the case. It just sets up the stage. So, and maybe, there's a possibility of filling in some gaps if needed for a Pearl 2. But it was, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. Everything that I said at the check-in still remains true, and that's the best parts of the film. And that's it. I thought the acting, all that stuff. So I have nothing else to share. I just jump in here at the end, let you know I watched it. Kind of all over the place. I'm gonna have to mull it over a little bit more and see where I end up at. But all right, I'm not sure if I was helpful at all, but hopefully the first two check-ins were helpful. This one not so much. This is one you're gonna have to see on your own. So very high scores. So maybe you'll like it. All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.